I'd like to welcome you to the 7th Annual Building Bridges Dual Credit Conference. Today's pre-conference workshop is titled Data Review of Dual Credit and Early College High School Students at UTEP. We kindly ask that you keep your mics and webcams off to preserve bandwidth. We will be recording this session. Feel free to post your questions in the chat box. We will collect them and our presenters will address them. We will also post a sign-in sheet and the session evaluation in the chat box. Please make sure you do sign in before 5:20 to be able to get credit. I am pleased to introduce our presenters for today, Ms. Pat Caro, Martin Ramirez, and Jennifer Dunlop. I'm sorry for mispronouncing that. The workshop will give us an overview of UTEP's Academic Advising Center and Early College High School Academic Success Center, review data, and give us tips for best practices. I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very excited to be with you all today and my UTEP colleagues. Let me just figure out how I can share my screen here.
And presenters, you're welcome to turn your cameras on too.
Okay. Can you all see, is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, then. So again, we're going to be going over some, I think I should have it. So this is what we're going to be taking a look at today. An overview of the Academic Advising Center, an overview of the Early College High School Academic Success Center, some data about dual credit students at UTEP, and some data about early college high school students at UTEP as well. And then we're very excited to have three students with us today who will be sharing their experiences as early college high school students or taking dual credit in high school. So we'll be able to hear from them, hear their experiences about these programs and how they've prepared them for their careers at UTEP and, setting them up for what's coming up. So I do want to take this time before we really get started and just introduce my colleagues. As was already mentioned, Pat Caro, she's the director of the Academic Advising Center. And Jennifer Dunlop, who's the student transition manager in the Academic Advising Center. Ms. Yvette Savina was unfortunately not able to join us today, so I apologize on her behalf. I know she was really wanted to participate, and myself, Martin Ramirez, I'm the program advisor for the Early College High School Academic Success Center. So again, I'll be focusing on the early college high school side of the house, and then Pat and Jennifer will be focusing on the dual credit data and the Academic Advising Center information. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over.
Thank you, Martin. So you'll do the next slide?
Is it on? It should be on the. I see Academic Advising. You can't see it?
I cannot see it. I don't know if anybody else can.
No, it's still on the main slide. There we go.
There it
Okay.
is.
Okay, there we are. Thank you, Martin. So thank you all for being here. What I will do, as Martin mentioned, my name is Pat Caro. I'm the director of the Academic Advising Center, and I'm really excited to be presenting this information to you again. We've done this for several years, and so I want to start with a little bit of an overview about the Academic Advising Center, who we are, what we do for students. And I'm not going to read through those bullets. I'm really just going to kind of add to those bullets. And so what I wanted to mention to you all is that at the Advising Center, we actually begin advising students from orientation
And we look at the credit that they're bringing in. We review their AP, their AB, their dual credit to see how that credit is going to fit into their chosen degree and degree plan and major. Our advisors guide students through degree evaluation during their first year and all the way through the end of their second years. Advisors encourage students. Part of our process is part of the holistic advising process. And so our advisors encourage students to participate in campus engagement and UTEP Edge activities. Advisors that are there, they're actually assigned to each student. So advisors provide referrals to students as needed, as they see are needed for tutoring purposes, for counseling, for financial aid, for social support, anything that the student tells us they're interested in, we are going to go ahead and refer so that they can really get a holistic experience out of their college experience. The advising model in the advising center is a cohort-based advising model. As I mentioned to you, advisors are assigned to students. We have a ratio of about 325 to 1. And we do that all the way through 45 hours. Once the student completes beyond that, then they actually transition into the discipline-specific major. And so our model actually has been in place for 3 years. And one of the things I'm really excited and happy to say is that we are seeing increases in retention. Retention overall for university students, but specifically retention with freshmen. We've seen each of the 3 years, we've seen an increase in retention, and we're really excited about that. And so kind of what we're looking at as a next phase really is looking at how can we implement this cohort-based advising model into the rest of the university so that students can experience and have that one-on-one advising with their specific assigned advisor all the way through graduation. And we're kind of getting ready to gear towards that next move. Can you show us the next slide, Martin? And so part of the really important services that are available in the Academic Advising Center are these 3 really specific programs that you see listed on the PowerPoint. The Foster Homeless Adopted Resources Center portion of our center is really there to provide advocacy service for UTEP students who have either aged out of foster care, find themselves in homelessness, or were adopted. And the goal here has been to streamline services for students, from financial aid to finding housing. We actually have 2 advisors that are dedicated to students that come through our FAR program. And so these advisors get to know these students, and they help students through finding campus housing or even community services. It maybe if it has to be a shelter for a bit of time, we try and place them where we can and help them get through that process. We refer them to the campus food pantry, to campus and UTEP, to campus and community resources that they may need along the way. And even within our Academic Advising Center, we have a little store in which students could get school supplies or hygiene supplies at no cost. And so we're every once in a while, we do a shout out to our campus community and ask them to donate for this purpose. And we have been very fortunate to be able to provide these services to students through the FAR program. Our financial and social support program is really a program where we are working collaboratively with the social work department. We have 4 Masters of Social Work interns that are really in the center to empower UTEP students through increased financial literacy and cultivating their skills necessary to make sound financial decisions as they're trying to go to college and they get financial aid, and how do I do it? All of a sudden they come upon all this money, and how do I manage it? And so they're here to help students with that. We also, our FSSS interns are also available to help students navigate paying for college, help them look for campus employment if there's transportation issues, food insecurities, stress management, and any community-based resources. That is what our social work interns are there to help students with. And then our final kind of piece of this holistic advising process is our student success help desk. And that was something that was primarily implemented to help UTEPs overcome obstacles to timely graduation. And this process has actually promoted campus-wide collaboration. We're looking at identifying trends that affect students across UTEP's academic colleges in order to be able to facilitate whatever obstacle is affecting students, all students, and helping them get that navigated so that they can successfully complete their degree. And so kind of all of this in a nutshell is part of what we do for students in the Advising Center. We want them to be successful, and so we have a pretty good sized group of staff and student employees that help us make sure that we're helping students become successful college students. Martin, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Pat. In that same light, we have the Early College High School Academic Success Center at UTEP, which is the office that I oversee. The purpose of the Success Center is just to ensure that early college high school students are getting the support that they need. Specifically, since we all know that this is such a very unique population of students, they come in with different needs than maybe our traditional students. So we want to make sure we recognize that, and we're responding in a way that's going to help them transition from the high school EPCC environment to the either high school UTEP environment or the full-on UTEP experience once they've graduated from high school. So through my office, we're very integrated with different departments on campus. We partner with them a lot so that we can tailor different experiences for our ECHS students. For example, our new student orientation, we have a specific orientation for our early college high school students, whether that's when they're transitioning as seniors in high school and attending UTEP their senior year, or transitioning post-high school and becoming full-time UTEP students. I also partner with the different advising offices on campus to ensure that our students' credits are all coming in, to ensure that their transcripts have been evaluated, to make sure that when students visit their advisors, the advisor can have a complete picture as to where that student's at in their academic journey, to avoid any obstacles for the student. Well, also through my office, I also offer our students I sort of pre-advising meetings is what I like to call them with my students, because sometimes students are a little afraid to go to their advising session because they're not familiar with the vernacular that us advisors use sometimes. So I sort of prep them, I explain to them what a degree evaluation is, what their degree plan is, what credits are, what classes they already have, so that when it's time for them to go to their advisor, who's the expert in their major, in their field of study, the student isn't as lost, and they can ask questions that maybe they didn't know they had, or maybe questions that they didn't know how to express. And then I also partner with our financial aid office, because we do have 2 scholarship programs that I manage out of the office. So we partner with them to make sure that everything's looking good on that end for our students. And one of those scholarships is actually possible through a grant from the Greater Texas Foundation, and the other is actually an internal university scholarship that allows students to attend UTEP their senior year. So again, it's just really connecting with our UTEP partners, our community partners, to make sure that at every step of the way, there's a structure that exists that can support the success of our early college high school students post high school.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Dunlop, and as Martin said, I am the Student Transition Manager at the Advising Center, and I have the opportunity to review the data for the students, all students that are coming to UTEP that have earned credit while they're in high school. So I get a list, I get a report, and then I look at every student and look at their degree plan and kind of figure out where the student is and what is counting and what isn't counting and what's coming in and the courses that they're taking, and kind of I get to see all the nitty-gritty, which is, it's fun. It takes a long time, but it's a lot of fun. So this first slide is just the number of students that are coming in. This is the third time that we've been able to provide this data, to present this data at this conference, and so we have 3 years worth. The number of students is going down that is coming in with the dual credit. For fall, we kind of expected that to happen just because the way that courses are being offered right now during this time. And so the numbers are a little lower. You will notice that the largest number of students that are coming in are the students that are coming in with 49 plus credit hours. So these are the students that are in the early college. We have students that come in from anywhere from one dual credit course to up to, I think this year it was 81 credits. These credits that the students are bringing in could be dual credit, and they're also AP. So the students that have especially a lot of credits, like the 95, 81 credit hours, they have 66 dual credit, but then they have a lot of AP credit as well. So the information that I'm going to be discussing today is going to include dual credit students that may also have some kind of AP credit. The data does not have just AP students. So if students only had AP credit, I'm not going to be talking about them, just the students that have the dual credit. Next slide, please. So you'll notice, like I said earlier, I'm looking at students and how the courses that they're bringing to the university are applying to their degree. So this particular slide, we're looking at the number of students that all the courses are applying versus at least one course is not applying to their UTEP degree. And you'll notice since fall of 2018, the students that all of their courses applied was 36%, and this fall it's 60%. So we've kind of flipped it. More of our students are coming in, more of the students are coming in, and their courses are counting. So that's really exciting, that the majority of students, all of their courses are counting. It's about 40% that they have at least one of their courses that isn't counting. Next slide. So then what we do is we kind of break it down by course. So how many students are coming where they have, the first one is 1 to 4 non-applicable courses. So 1 to 4 of their courses are not counting, all the way up to 13 to 16 from fall 2019, but 0 to 12 of the courses are not counting. So this is the number of courses. So again, you'll notice that 90% of the 344 students that came in, that some course didn't apply, it was between 1 and 4. So 1 to 12 credit hours isn't applying. So that's about 90% of the group. And then it goes down even more. 10% have 5 to 8 courses that don't apply. And then it was one student that had the 9 to 12 courses. I'm going to talk a little bit later about kind of what those courses look like and why the courses aren't applying. But it's good news that it went from 75% in fall of 2018 to 90% in fall of 2020, that the number of courses is, they're coming in and most of their courses are counting. Next slide. So this slide is the number of students that come in, like if they're coming in, so the total number of earned hours and how many of those courses are counting. So, for example, the first one is the number of students that are bringing in 1 to 12 credit hours. So they were awarded college credit from 1 to 12 hours, and how many of those students have a course that's not applicable. So it was about 7%. So 24 students of the 344 had 1 to 4 classes that weren't, that are bringing in 12 credit hours that didn't have a non-applicable course. And then the next one is number of students that earned 13 to 24 credits awarded, and then 26 to 36. And you'll notice the very bottom one, the number of students that are bringing in a lot of hours, it's about 64% of our total students that have non-applicable courses. These are the courses that are in early college. These are the students that are in early college for the most part. They're getting their associate's degree and they're coming to the university. The 221, I looked at it and I believe it's about 65% of the total number of early college students. Well, the students that are coming in with a lot of hours are coming in with some course. It could be one course. And if we think about the previous slide, it's 1 to 4 courses that aren't counting towards the degree. So even this group that are coming in with a lot of credits, most of their credits are counting towards their degree. So that's good news too. I think that's it. Next slide. I think it's on to you, Martin. And we're going to have an opportunity to answer questions if there's any questions.
Yes, thanks, Jen. So these are numbers of early college high school students who are transitioning to UTEP. And just to clear this up, these are numbers from fall semesters, so at the beginning of the academic year. And as you can see, there's been significant growth over the past 11 years. Back in fall 2009, we had our first 23 students attend UTEP. And actually, these 23 students were still seniors in high school. So that first group that came to UTEP from an early college high school program, they did it while still being seniors in high school. And as you can see, the numbers have just been growing, which is awesome. One thing that really attributes to that, it has just been the growth of early college high school programs in our region. If I'm not mistaken, we're currently at 15 early college high schools, and there's more in development. So it's just it's spread like wildfire. Which in maybe 17. Thank you, Dean Badillo. So again, it's spread like wildfire. Maybe it's not the best term to use since this spreading is something good. But definitely at UTEP. It's something that's exciting, and it's just a testament to the type of students we have in our region, that they're able to not only right, and then we have our P-TECs, so 3 of those, that brings us to 20 total. So this just goes to show us that the ability of our students in our region, and that's why in the ECHS Academic Success Center, we really want to make sure that we're continuing to support our students, because if they're getting to UTEP, they're more than capable of finishing at UTEP and then moving on to whatever's next. We want to make sure that we're supporting them throughout that process and making that transition as smooth as possible. And just to give you an idea of what these majors look like, from that number, we're close to 1,500 early college high school students at UTEP this fall 2020 semester. From that number, these are the top 5 majors that students are pursuing at UTEP. That biology is always number 1, even if we break it down by just looking at a particular semester of entry. Biology is always number 1 by far. It's always followed by psychology. So those are pretty much always 1 and 2. And then the following 3 in that top 5, those do fluctuate now and then. In this case, we're looking at nursing, criminal justice and computer science, but in the past, we've also seen mechanical engineering being one of those top 5 majors. But again, biology by far, most of our students, and psychology also being part of that, most of our students are interested in moving on to medical school, to veterinary school, dental school, anything in the medical field, and that's why that biology and psychology combination are usually number 1 and number 2. Okay, so I do want to take some time here before we move on to our student panel to go ahead and answer questions. I'm looking at our chat here. Let me go back.
I think someone asked about the on-ramps. The dual credit data that I reviewed was dual credit from all. So it was on-ramps. The majority is from El Paso Community College, but we even have some students from other places in Texas that come. And so there's a few of those sprinkled in, but the majority of the students that I reviewed were from the community, from El Paso Community College.
Yes, so the question was, do you see significant credits through on-ramps?
No, so there are students that are bringing in the credits, but those students fell within the hours, the 0 to 12 credit hours. They're bringing in the credits. The credits, they're not a lot of credits, and typically those credits are not counting. So not all of them, but some of the credits that we're getting from on-ramps are falling into the non-applicable courses. Does that answer the question?
We will be sharing this PowerPoint, right, Martin? That's another question.
Right, yes, we will. Okay, see another question about dual credit and I guess a difference in early college, and Dean Bailey already answered that one. So yeah, just dual credit is the umbrella term, which early college, high school falls underneath that. And again, dual credit are, students in traditional high schools can take dual credit courses, and that ranges from 1 to, to more than 1 to multiple. And early college high school students are those in a program in a high school that is they're on track to graduate from high school with their associate's degrees. Do you get a lot of students who attend UTEP during their senior? This question, do you get a lot of students who attend UTEP during their senior year in high school? Through the early college high school programs, we do. I'm actually, I've been preparing for our orientation. These are students that we call accelerated early college high school students. So I'm actually preparing for that, for an orientation for them next week. And we have about a little bit more than 190 high school seniors who will be attending UTEP next semester. So the spring of their senior year, they'll be at UTEP. So that number does fluctuate, but the number for students attending in the spring is higher than those attending in the fall. This fall, we're at about 93 students, if I'm not mistaken. So 93 seniors at UTEP right now through early college high school. And then for next semester, we're anticipating a little bit over 190. All right, so we're going to go ahead and sort of change the speed here. So we do have 3, right, so these accelerated students attend UTEP on a scholarship, which they're eligible for if they graduate with their associates with a 3.0 GPA. We do have some students with less than a 3.0, usually just a couple, because those students can still go to UTEP, but they're paying out of pocket. So the majority of the seniors at UTEP are at a 3.0 GPA at the end of their associates. Right. Okay, so I do want to go ahead and transition over to our student panel. We have three UTEP students, two of which are early college high school graduates, and one student who is who graduated with dual credit. So I do want to go ahead and if you all can, go ahead and turn your cameras on, and then we'll go ahead and get started with this panel. And again, during the panel, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. We'll go ahead and address those once we're done here. So we have our three students. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I'm really excited about this. Let me just pull up my little cheat sheet here with my questions. Okay. Awesome. All right. So I have Chloe, Citlali, and Nicholas. So I don't know which one of you. I'm just going to start with what I have there. So Chloe, if you can get us started, and then we'll just go down the list. Citlali and then Nicholas after that. So go ahead and introduce yourself, and then tell us a little bit about your background, educational experience, and your academic pathway. You're still muted, Chloe. There you go.
I was going to let you know first off that my computer graciously let me know that it was too outdated to put the background. So I don't know if you mind the background or if you want me to turn off my
No problem.
Okay, awesome. Well, my name is Chloe Jordan. I graduated from high school 2 years ago from Socorro High School. This year I am a senior. I'll be graduating in May. And that's where I came from. I did the early college. I love
Chloe, I hate to.
So what was that?
Can you turn your volume up, Chloe? Because it's hard to hear you.
I'm at 100%. I don't know. You can't hear me.
We could barely hear you.
I don't know what to do. Technology. I don't know if I should get closer. Is that okay?
That's a little bit better.
Okay. I'll yell.
That works.
I had mentioned that I was a graduate from Socorro High School. My experience as a early college student, I feel like was very good. I had very good counselors and teachers who guided me through the process very well, as well as towards the end, we had people like Martin who joined later on, but we had other people who would come and talk to us about our experience going into UTEP, and that helped a lot because even though we were doing early college courses and we were in the college environment, coming into UTEP was a completely different experience because it's fully college, no high school holding your hand, and so that helped for the transition to UTEP really helped a lot. I don't know what's the next question.
Okay, thank you. Citlali, same. Can you introduce yourself and then tell us about your background, educational experience, and academic pathway?
Yes, of course. So hello, everyone. My name is Citlali Reyes. I am currently a junior and I am studying to be a high school math teacher. I took dual credit, so I did not graduate from the early college high school, but I did take 15 semester credit hours of dual credit at my high school that they were able to offer me. What else? And Martin likes me to mention this for some reason, but he likes me to mention that once I become a teacher, I want to teach dual credit classes just because it relates to dual credit, and just because I really did think those classes made an impact on preparing me to come into college.
Thank you, Citlali. Nicholas, introduce yourself, please, and then your background, educational experience, and your academic pathway, please.
Yes, so hi everyone, my name is Nicholas Lopez. I'm currently a junior in electrical engineering at UTEP, And I graduated from Burgess Early College a year ago in 2019. And I graduated with my associates, and I feel like Martin brought up that whole orientation and, like the summer bridge camp. I feel like that was a really good transition because, like Chloe was saying, yes, Diana, I mean, Miss Medina was my counselor my junior year, and she helped me get all the classes I needed. So glad to see you again. So yes, I feel like it was quite a transition, like Chloe was saying, because it's UTEP is completely different, but I feel like EPCC and those dual credit classes really gave me the background and the confidence when I came to UTEP because you already picked up, some professional skills like talking to other people and networking, and like even the classes I had at Valle Verde, I got to meet some of my close friends that I have now. So I feel I was great. I was honored to have taken part in early college program.
Thank you, Nicholas. And I'm going to continue here with you. With that said, what would you say were some of the most important tools that you gained as a result of being in an early college high school program?
So like I was saying, definitely networking. Coming to UTEP, I already had that that experience of giving presentations, getting to know other people beyond your peers in high school. You're working with maybe people that are older than you, maybe other early college students. And so it's very interesting because you want to get yourself outside of that comfort zone and really get to know others, because that's what college is about, expanding your network, meeting new people. And I really enjoyed my college experience so far, because it's just really, I have so many people that I can contact, like, just for different things. Lali is one of my close friends as well. So yeah, networking, definitely.
Okay, great, thanks. Citlali, an important tool that you feel you gain, and you touched on it a little bit before, but being in dual credit courses in high school, what do you think, how that prepared you for UTEP?
Okay. So being in dual credit classes, I think one of the big things that helped me, because my classes were a little different than most classes, like I didn't do them through EPCC. So my class was fully online, and learning how to manage online classes has become extremely helpful, especially right now that we're in a pandemic and all of my classes are online. Learning how to like understand what the syllabus says, what the professors wants from us, what is expected from us, and also sometimes learning how to teach ourselves a little bit when our professors aren't able to do that as effectively in a virtual setting. So a lot of them struggle with technology or stuff like that. So definitely the fact that my dual credit class was online has been helpful recently. Also managing my time, because since it was online, I didn't have like, oh, every Wednesday you have a quiz at this time. No, it was like, okay, these are your assignments for the week. Finish them by Friday or else. So that's also been really helpful in college in general, but also now that we are learning remotely.
Right. Thank you. Chloe, an important tool that you feel that you gained by being part of an early college high school program?
Okay, I added earphones. Does this help?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I
Thanks.
stole the idea from everyone else. All right. A tool that I think was the most important for me is I gained a lot of confidence. So I think Miss Caro was the one who touched on retention. And I feel like a lot of my fellow peers who did the traditional high school classes were more scared or worried or whatever the case was, going into college completely fresh, and we really did have our toes already in the water, so we kind of already had an idea with how everything went. So I went into the UTEP environment very confident. I wasn't, of course, you're technically a freshman or however you go in, but you have an idea already. So that little bit of that experience that I already had that experience, it gave me a lot of confidence that I could continue with my college education.
Okay, great. And I'm gonna stick with you, Chloe. What is something you had wished you had known back then? And then let us know what's next for you.
One thing that I did wish that I had known before is I have always been very involved in like extracurricular activities. So in high school, doing the early college, you're super ahead in your education wise. But I felt like once I got to UTEP, like academically, I was very ahead, but like those extra things that you can do, you know, like fraternities, sororities, clubs, anything that you can join, I was completely clueless. And that was really my motivation for school. So I had just wished that maybe we were introduced to that a little bit more during high school, the extra things offered, because once you get into UTEP, I was more concerned about, okay, this is 100% college. Let me get comfortable with this, and then I can start looking at the extra stuff. But already being so far ahead, there's actually not so much time, you know? Like I mentioned, I'm already going to graduate this year, and it feels like it just flew by. Luckily, I was able to join the Delta Sigma Pi fraternity to some good friends of mine who are in the fraternity already. But especially now with coronavirus, being online, the experience, I just wish I had more time to experience that. So I would have loved to do that early on.
Okay, and then what's next for you?
So that's an interesting question. Another thing that I feel like was very beneficial is that I was 2 years ahead. So I got that education, but currently I'm actually interested in changing what I want to do. I think I might want to go into the education field. Currently, I am an accounting major, but I am not scared of changing that at this point because I feel like I'm already ahead, you know? So I have this education. Of course, it's not a waste at all. I'm still interested in accounting, business management, but I'm not so afraid to say, you know what? It's okay to change my mind. I'm so far ahead already. Like, let's get more education.
Okay, great. Then we have an appointment in your near future, so we can talk about that.
Awesome.
Okay, Citlali, something you had wished you had known back then, and then you already mentioned it, but what's next?
Okay. I think something that I wish I had known back then, and I guess because it was a little different for me, is how to like network with my professors, how to get that connection with them, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Thankfully, I am in an environment where a lot of people could help me, like my scholarship. They're very helpful with that, and they've kind of told me like, oh, just don't be afraid to ask questions, it's okay. But I wish I kind of would have known how to network a little bit better before coming into college. And as for next steps, I already mentioned it, sorry I skipped ahead. Like I said, I do want to be a high school math teacher, so I guess technically the next step is student teaching. Terrifying stuff, but it's okay. So that, and hopefully go back to school to get a master's to teach dual credit high school. And if I just kind of want to add to what Chloe said, I also changed my major, like, I don't know, freshman year, I don't know when. I also changed my major, but having those 15 credit hours helped me in being like, okay, I don't have to worry. I can still graduate in 4 years. My scholarship could still pay for it. I don't have to worry about paying it out of pocket because I had those extra 15 credit hours, which is like one semester at UTEP, that had put me ahead of the game, kind of. And now I'm like, perfect. I just have to take 12 credit hours. I'm so excited. Anyways, that was all.
Great. Thank you. Nicholas, something you had wished you had known, and what's next for you?
Okay, so going back, I would definitely say just being a little bit more flexible and being adjusting, especially right now, given the circumstances. But going back to high school, I think a lot of my friends and I had this idea that, oh, you know, we're going to graduate with our associates, we're going to graduate in 2 years right after. but that's not always the case. You know, not everything goes as planned. Like some degree plans are longer than others. Like for mine, electrical engineering is typically a little bit longer than other majors. So in a sense, I'm kind of ahead, and looking at it, some of my friends who are just barely coming in, they're struggling with having to take, 17, 16 credits per semester, when I already kind of have that little cushion where I don't have to be stressing out about taking so many credits, because props to them, I don't think I could do that. Now I'm taking maybe like 13, 14 credits a semester, taking it at my pace. And going off of what Chloe said as well, I think just being exposed to different programs and, getting yourself out there, I think it does make a difference, because when you come in as a freshman, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm ahead academically, but I have to catch up on experiences and stuff. So it is a little bit overwhelming, but once you're here at UTEP, you find your niche and you find things just kind of fit along. So fortunately, like plans for my future, I'm looking at different companies, and I was fortunate to take part in research this past summer. And right now I'm currently in the last stages of interviews for Texas Instruments. So I have my last interview tomorrow, which is exciting. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. So
Thanks, Nicholas. And good luck on your interview tomorrow. Okay, so thank you to all three of you. I know everybody appreciated you taking the time to give us that feedback. I know somebody mentioned it's great to hear from the student point of view. I mean, sometimes maybe we don't really get that all the time, but so thank you to the three of you for participating and for giving us such great insights into the student side of things when it comes to dual credit and early college high school. So before we close, I just want to share something that I think is a best practice, or something that we should be looking at when it comes to working with early college high school students. And I swear to you, this wasn't planned, but the students touched up on it. I think it's important that when students are in the early college high school, they're still a high school student. It's important for us to help them plan out their future. To help them understand that yes, they're by the time they're at a high school, at the very least they're going to have their associates, and then more or less you're looking at 2 years of at UTEP or at the next institution and you're done. But it's important for them to understand that sometimes it's not a race. Sometimes it's more of a marathon where our students can take their time. They can participate in. And yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Dean Badillo. I was actually, I was a graduate of an early college high school. I was part of the second graduating class at Mission Early College High School. And the same sentiments that the students were sharing is something that I feel like if I would have known, because when I came to UTEP, I did just go straight through and I finished in a year and a half. But I didn't, have any. I was a history major, so I didn't study abroad. I didn't do any of these other activities that right now I wish I could have. So I think just sharing, there's all these other opportunities. It's not just a matter of you get there and you finish, but getting involved. There's so many opportunities at UTEP that are available to our students. So with that, I want to give it over to Pat or Jen to just share part of
I'll go ahead and go. So my notable findings are more on what I saw when I was reviewing the courses. So in the past, we always had a lot of students that had math credit that was coming in that wasn't counting, and I did not see that. I didn't see that this time around. Kind of what I saw was a lot of students coming in with an Econ 2304. Along with their with their first political science. And I know that it's because it's fulfilling the high school requirement. So they're taking the government and economics as dual credit, which is great. Not all students need the economics, but that was just a course that I saw a lot more this time than I had in the past. And the students that have a lot of hours that are coming in with their, I'm assuming that they're early college students, kind of like Chloe and Sitlali mentioned. A lot of them, I could tell they changed their major. They came in with a lot of dual credit in criminal justice, and now they're an accounting major. So some of those courses that they're taking aren't going to count towards their degree at UTEP, but I really feel like they're growing. They're coming to college and they're figuring out, well, I wanted to do criminal justice, but maybe that's not for me anymore. And so even though some of those courses aren't counting, I think that it helps it helps them to grow and figure out what it is that they want to do. So those were kind of just my notable findings and things that I noticed when I was looking at the data.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Martin. I do want to thank the students. They did a great job on this panel, and congratulations, those of you that are pretty, well, all three of you are pretty much getting ready to wrap up and move on to something else. So congratulations to all of you for doing so well. I think my observations from whenever we get together with our partner, PCC and UTEP work very closely together, it's really great to see, and this data shows that that getting together and meeting like this really helps. It helps us to learn from each other, to see what's happening, to understand what each institution is doing, because ultimately, as you can see from the data from the past 3 years we've presented, those numbers are getting better in terms of courses that are applying to students' degrees. So that's a really exciting thing, I think, to be able to really know that our partnership works, it continues to work, and I look forward to continuing to work with our EPCC partners.
There is a question. So what's the best associates to attempt to go into UTEP?
It just really depends on what the student wants to pursue. That's really the starting point with what they want to major in at UTEP, and then from there we can look at different options. So it's really on a case-by-case basis. So I'm always more than available to meet with anybody, any students who might have a question, and we can definitely look at what that particular situation is. Yeah, perfect, Nima. I'll start with the end in mind. That's what I used. Like, she said it in what, 5 words, 6 words, and I said it like in 2 minutes. But yeah, that's the answer.
Okay, is there any more questions? And also, you will all have the opportunity to win a door prize, and the chances of winning increase as you attend more workshops. So please keep on joining us. And we're waiting to see if anybody has any more questions. And just to let you all know, our pre-conference workshops continue tomorrow, and our conference on Saturday morning begins at 9 a.m. with the keynote speaker at 11. So thank you again for participating, and we hope to see you tomorrow afternoon and Saturday.
We want to thank our speakers again. They were terrific.
It was great being here. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And the students too. It was very enjoyable.